last question on this topic, and I really want to hit the ladies on this because even though it probably can apply to guys, I think it definitely apply to women because you have some guys, you can call them mental health issues, whatever you want to call it, but you have some guys who don't take rejection very well. And so, let me start with you on this, Erica. Do you think that some women quiet quit out of fear?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if you're in an abusive relationship, whether it be physical or emotional. Um, a lot of times that's when you're in the most danger. That's when a woman is in the most physical danger, is when she's deciding to leave that relationship and she's letting it be known to that person. And if they're the type of person who wants to have control over when the relationship is over, or they're not ready to let go, that can be a dangerous situation for her to get out of it. And so that's why I think some women actually do stay around and stick in it, because you know, they fear that they can't leave safely, or they want more time to, make a plan that's going to be safe for them to get out of that situation, um, as easily as possible. I've been in that situation where the person didn't want to let go, so I pretended, to stay and be involved, engaged in the relationship until I could make a better plan to get out of it.
Mm. And Carrie, I mean, that's real. I mean, you have some people who they're afraid to leave, so they just give minimum efforts with hopes that someone will break up with them.
Yeah, so I've tried that too, right? Like to try to make you break up with me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't, depend on the person. In my experience, I 100% agree with Erica. And so as a domestic violence survivor myself, I've been there. Um, it you want to get the safe. It's easy to say walk away from the relationship, right? The marriage, whatever it may be, but it's not always safe to do so. And so you have to think smartly about your actions before you decide to quit, however you decide to quit, even if you know the relationship is over. And so, like I said, sometimes you're really planning that exit strategy that's best for you. But one of the things that I think, one of my last relationships that I quietly quit, I think I stayed for longer than I should have because of the idea of gaslighting. And it took a long time for me to understand what that is and what that, but it's like I wasn't invested, that person wasn't invested. We both knew it. But whenever I tried to leave, I was everything but the child of God. I was, and then I start asking myself, well, maybe it's me. I start considering some stuff like Buck is talking about. Maybe I'm being shallow, maybe I'm being over the top, and I really started to let that person's theory play into my own mind, and I really started to internalize that. And so I stayed and I tried to give more, and then I quit again, and it was a cycle until I had to get up and say, you know what, no, this isn't right, and this person is not going to change what they're doing, not going to stop sleeping in the baby mama's house, not going to stop doing all the things that they do that they shouldn't be doing. And so you have to be strong in that aspect. But sometimes the safety is also an emotional sense of safety, right? To know that you're not gonna to walk away and crumble at by yourself as well too. Some people are really isolated and may not have the support system to help pick them up. And so, as sad as it sounds, sometimes it's you stay in a situation of comfort to build your strength back up until you're ready to walk away for good.
Mm. And Susie, in the comments, Chrissy said physical abuse is not the only abuse, manipulation and emotional abuse. So that it can be more than physical.
Absolutely. I agree with everything Erica and Carrie said. It's really hard to get out of a relationship when you are in an abusive situation, regardless of what sort of abuse it is. Um, Even like playing the guilt card, that sort of thing. I've been in those situations too, and it is very hard. But it's also about where you seek your validation. And um, I'm going to play this fear card from a different angle, like being afraid of being alone and defining yourself by that single life. defining yourself differently than you're used to and how people view you. And it's something, it's being vulnerable, right? And a lot of people fear that, fear the vulnerability, and they stay in these situations because of that. And I think it's important to realize that it's not only abusive situations, but you're almost abusing yourself, because you're not living an empowered life. You're giving that power to this other person and to other people instead of going and seeking your own happiness. So that's another fear that that should be considered.